Were you frustrated when you went on the Young Turks and that dude yelled at you and just disconnected you?
Yeah, I wish he hadn't disconnected me.
You have a style of talking, and it just you have to sort of let you rant. You got to let you go on. But he wanted to shut you down, and I like that guy. I think he's a ballsy dude. So I didn't agree with him in that point. I think he should have let you talk, but his position was this: you want to continue to extract money from the government or money from the people, money from the system.
But I don't want to extract anything from anybody.
Right. But he didn't want to let you defend free market capitalism.
No, he'd rather cut me off and then attack me when I can't defend myself. Yeah. You're like a martial arts guy. He didn't want to have a fair fight. He wanted to tie me up, muzzle me, and then kick the shit out of me.
Yeah, well, right? He had a contrary opinion to yours. He was very rigid in his opinion. He didn't want you to run off on these contrary and very articulate tangents.
I think a lot of it is like he wants to go off on a tangent. I have to bring him back, and a lot of it, when people want to attack Wall Street and say that somehow by defending Wall Street, I'm defending capitalism, and I'm trying to say, no, I'm not. What's going on now in the banks and with Wall Street is not what I defend. That's the opposite of what I defend. If it were up to me, there would have been no bailouts. If it were up to me, there never would have been the phony stimulus that caused the crisis. So there would have been no need for a bailout. But I want, free market capitalism, not crony. But the problem is people are attacking the crony capitalism as if it were legitimate. And then they're attributing to me, they're saying I'm defending that when I'm not. What I'm defending is not what they're attacking. It's like they create a straw man. And then they attack that straw man, but I didn't, that's not my argument. So I got to bring him back off of his tangent and remind him of what's actually going on.
I think it's an issue also with this limited time frame that people try to enforce on these interviews. I think that a complex subject like this really requires many, many hours of discussion. I don't think it's something you could do.
Yeah.
It's little short 7 to 10 minute sound bites, quick interviews. I think this is a thing you need to sit down. You can't be concerned about the audience listening to this. You can't be concerned about a time frame. You have to go over all the various points and counterpoints.
Yeah, that's why. Complex. You're like, if I was with, I think it's Chet Younger. That's the guy's name, or is this right? Younger of the
Uger,
the Young Turks,
right?
Yeah,
Cenk
Uger, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I had a format like this with that guy, where we sat down and we knew we had 3 hours,
right,
and we can just all say what's on our mind, and not have to interrupt. Because a lot of times when I go on a show, whether even it's like a CNBC or Fox, you're on a show, it's a 4-minute segment.
If you're lucky.
And there's like 3 or 4 other guys on there with you.
Ridiculous.
And you got to just say whatever you can. You got to interrupt just to get your, your words in.
Yeah.
And you got to try to, squeeze it down to a little soundbite. But I don't think he would want to sit down with me in a format like this because I'd make him look like an idiot. So,
what if we got it together? Would you do it?
Yeah.
Would you do it with him and you together? That would be the shit.
Sure.
That would be fantastic.
If he wants to, mix it up or have,
Well, just have a conversation.
A real conversation where he
can't and lose.
Where he can't turn off my mic.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can't turn off his, and you get somebody in the middle. Because you and I mean, like we agree on some things, we disagree on other things, so you can kind of be a neutral moderator and kind of like, okay, well, here's your point, or what about this, and you kind of...
Well, I'm not much of a yelly, cut you off type of guy. I have strong opinions about certain things, but I also think that I want to know how you think, and the only way to know how you think is to let you talk. There's no other way. I mean, to even have a counterpoint to what you say, I have to hear what you have to say. I have to hear your opinion. I have to try to put myself into your shoes, see your position, come at it from your angle.
Yeah, I mean, even on my show, when I interview people and I, have to cut them off, and some people criticize, maybe I should do a better job, but even my interviews, even on radio, where I have 2 segments, but when you figure them out, it's about 12, 13 minutes of talk time between the both of us. And, you have to really get, and if somebody starts going off on, I can't let them talk, there'll be no, but if you're going to take a subject, you're going to say, look, we're going to hash this out for 3 hours, then you don't have to worry about that. Because whatever you need to say, you're going to get time to say it.
Yeah,
I think you can let the guy talk all he wants. Because sometimes if you let somebody talk long enough, they'll hang themselves.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely. I've had that happen a million times. I think there's a real issue with these short form conversations about complex issues. I don't think it's a good format. I don't think that's a good way to deal with things.
But the question is, do the people have the attention span to sit for 3 hours and watch a podcast?
They do. do. That's what's crazy. We have 9 million downloads a month right now.
Because I know I have people that tell me, like, oh, you made your YouTube video more than 5 minutes, no one's going to watch it.
That's nonsense. Those people are idiots. Listen, watching it is a very different thing than listening to it. If you could take those YouTube clips and turn them into podcasts, people can listen to it on the subway, listen to it in a plane. That's where we get the bulk majority of the people that listen to this show. They listen to it at the gym, on the way to the gym, on an airplane, commuting. That's how they listen to it. So it doesn't matter if it's 3 hours or 3 minutes. They're going to listen to the full, whatever their trip is, that's what they're listening to. And then they shut it off or continue it later. They don't have to listen to all 3 hours of it. The idea is that somehow or another, if you have something that's 3 hours, people don't have that kind of attention span.
Hopefully listen to the end, because that's where you give out the websites.
People are wrong, man. They're wrong about that. That was the big criticism that I had in the beginning of my podcast. Everybody's like, nobody wants to hear 3 hours of you talking. I'm like, okay, whatever. But it's fucking consistently top 5 of all podcasts on iTunes.
He listens to all of them.
Well, I appreciate that. But he's obviously not the only one. There's a lot of people that download it. People are not as dumb as everybody wants to think they are. They're not as ADD as everybody wants to think they are. And if you give them something that's actually interesting and fascinating, they'll tune in. They will. And if they don't, then it's not for them. But they might find something else that's not this podcast, but another one that is for them. And they go, wow, I can't believe I could listen to a whole 3 hours of that. It's just we're underestimating the intelligence of people greatly. And these people that are programming these television shows, they're learning. And this is actually a great argument for the free market, in fact, because the internet is the ultimate free market. And when it comes to podcasts and productions, there's no better example of how the people that were in control before the internet came around were wrong.
And remember,
they were regulating it, tightly controlling it, especially the FCC, the people coming along regulating language and communication. They were all wrong.
But the reason it developed so quickly is because there was no government. Things were happening faster than the government could figure it out.
Well, that's a good argument for free market. It really is. The internet is the best market ever for free market. That's why you should be.
Well, everything works well in a free. Well, but money still has to have value.
But it doesn't.
And because of that, insurance is a lot more expensive than it would be if individuals bought their own.